What Ibn Arabi saw hidden in Surah Ar-Rahman was not soft comfort, but a terrifying measure. The surah repeats mercy while exposing your ingratitude, your illusions, and the parts of you still at war with balance. Stay, and you will see why mercy can feel gentle, severe, and impossible to escape. Surah Ar-Rahman does not only praise God's gifts, it weighs your soul against them. And Ibn Arabi reads that weight not as poetry alone, but as a law already working inside you. Ar-Rahman means the all-merciful. But in this surah, mercy is not just kindness that comforts you. It is the vast reality that surrounds you before you ask, before you deserve, and before you even notice it. That is the first hidden shock. Most people think mercy means relief. They think mercy appears when pain leaves, doors open, money comes, or fear fades. But Ibn Arabi sees mercy as much larger than that. Mercy is the fact that you exist at all. Mercy is that you are taught, fed, held, warned, delayed, forgiven, and still addressed by God while you stumble through confusion. This changes the whole surah. Because once mercy becomes the atmosphere of existence, you can no longer reduce it to pleasant moments. Even warning can be mercy. Even exposure can be merciful. Even the verse that wounds your pride may be mercy, because it refuses to leave you asleep. You feel this station when life stops looking random. Your breath feels given. Your mind feels borrowed. Your body, your time, your chances, your moments of return all begin to look less like possessions and more like trusts. You stop saying, "I earned this," with the same confidence. You start seeing how much you reached before your effort ever began. The person here is waking up, not perfect, awake. They begin to see that mercy is not a reward given after goodness. Mercy is the field inside which both your goodness and your failures occur. They feel smaller, but not crushed, humbled, but not hopeless. The trap here is sentimental religion. You speak of God's mercy only when it makes you feel safe. You want mercy without accountability. You want divine softness without divine claim. So you call only the pleasant parts mercy and miss the harder forms that could save you. That is how people stay childish in faith. They love the name Ar-Rahman as sound, but resist it as reality. Because if mercy truly encloses you, then your life is not ownerless. It is being held, watched, measured, and guided even when you feel most alone. The exit from this station is recognition. Stop asking only, "Where did mercy make me comfortable?" Ask, "Where has mercy refused to abandon me to myself?" That question opens a deeper door. If a verse exposes you, that may be mercy. If a loss breaks your arrogance, that may be mercy. If your soul grows restless in a sinful life, that too may be mercy. Ibn Arabi does not let mercy become softness only. He lets it become total nearness. Surah Ar-Rahman moves from mercy to teaching. He taught, a clear expression. This is not a small detail. It is a map. Bayan means clear speech, clear showing, clear making known. Ibn Arabi sees this as part of mercy itself. God does not only create you, He gives you the power to name, reveal, answer, and understand. He lets meaning pass through you. That sounds beautiful. It is also dangerous. Because speech is one of the places where your soul becomes visible. Your words do not only tell others who you are, they train your own heart. The tongue is not a mirror alone. It is a tool of shaping. You feel this station when you notice that your speech leaves marks on you. Every complaint deepens a darkness. Every lie bends something inward. Every harsh word makes the heart rougher. And every honest prayer, every clean apology, every word of remembrance begins to wash that same heart. The person here starts to fear loose speech, not because they become stiff or fake, because they realize language is not cheap. A person can destroy their inner balance with a mouth that never rests. They can turn blessings into poison by naming them as entitlement. They can kill sincerity by always speaking from performance. This is one of the hidden meanings of Surah Ar-Rahman. The one who taught the expression will question what you did with it. The trap here is thinking speech belongs to you. You say, "This is just how I talk." You excuse mockery as honesty. You excuse gossip as concern. You excuse constant self-display as confidence. But speech that loses adab, sacred restraint, begins to darken the speaker before it harms the listener. That is why some people recite Quran beautifully yet speak to others in a way that empties the chest. Their tongue touches revelation, but their daily speech still serves ego. They have sound, but not bayan in its deeper sense. The exit is discipline. Slow down your mouth. Let silence expose what words usually cover. Then begin to speak only what leaves your chest cleaner, not dirtier. Praise more carefully. Complain less lazily. Ask forgiveness faster. Cut speech that feeds your false self. Mercy teaches speech, so speech can return you to mercy. But Surah Ar-Rahman now sharpens even further. It does not stop at mercy or speech. It brings you to something your ego hates more than pain. It brings you to measure, to the balance that reveals where your whole life has gone crooked without you naming it. Surah Ar-Rahman says, God raised the sky and set the balance. This means balance is not a human idea. It is built into reality. Ibn Arabi sees the mizan, the balance, as more than justice in trade or fairness in law. Those matter. But the deeper balance is the order by which everything stands in its right place under God. Your desires have a place. Your anger has a place. Your hunger, your grief, your ambition, your love, your fear, your speech, your silence. None of these are evil by themselves. They become crooked when they refuse their limit. That is where most lives quietly break. You feel this station when you begin to see that your suffering is not always from lack. Often it comes from imbalance. You want good things with the wrong weight. You love being seen more than being true. You rest too little, speak too much, consume too fast, forgive too slowly, and call the chaos normal. It is not normal. It is a distortion. The person here may look disciplined from the outside. They may pray on time, work hard, and stay respectable. But inwardly, the scale is off. They fear people more than they fear becoming false. They give their body what their soul should receive. They feed one appetite until it starts ruling the whole inner world. And because the disorder happens slowly, they stop feeling how crooked they have become. That is the trap. You think imbalance must feel dramatic. Usually, it feels familiar. This is why Surah Ar-Rahman repeats mercy while bringing up measures. Mercy without balance becomes self-deception. You say God is merciful, then use that truth to excuse a life that never returns to order. Ibn Arabi will not let you do that. Divine mercy is not permission to live bent. It helps me to become straight. The balance exposes you in small places first. How do you react when corrected? How do you spend when no one sees? How do you speak when hurt? How do you carry power when it enters your hand? What do you protect first when your comfort and your truth collide? Your answers reveal your scale. The exit from this station is not harsh self-hatred. It is an accurate weighing. Name the excess. Name the neglect. Name what has too much voice in you and what has been starved too long. Then begin to restore order one choice at a time. A balanced heart does not kill desire. It governs desire. That is why the next line matters so much. Surah Ar-Rahman does not stop with the balance. It says, do not transgress in the balance, meaning you already live inside a measured world, but your ego keeps trying to invade it. To transgress means to cross a line that was not yours to cross. In this surah, the line is not random. It is a sacred proportion. Ibn Arabi sees this as a warning against inner tyranny. The ego wants more than its portion, more praise, more control, more certainty, more pleasure, more immunity from consequence. It does not only want what it needs, it wants to overflow its boundary and still call that freedom. That is why this verse enters the soul like a blade. You feel the station when something in you always pushes past enough. Enough food becomes excess. Enough talk becomes domination. Enough self-care becomes self-worship. Enough caution becomes suspicion. Enough confidence becomes pride. The lower self rarely announces its greed openly. It hides inside things that look justified. The person here often appears intense, driven, or passionate. Sometimes that is praised. But inwardly, they have lost proportion. They cannot stop where they should stop. They do not know how to carry a blessing without stretching it into appetite. They do not know how to hold pain without making it their identity. Their life becomes a story of more, even when more keeps harming them. That is the trap. You call your excess sincerity. You say, "This is just who I am," or "I feel deeply," or "I care more than others." But many people are not deep. They are ungoverned. Many are not sincere. They are attached. Many are not strong. They simply have never learned restraint. Surah Ar-Rahman does not praise intensity by itself. It praises measure. That means even noble things become ugly when they rebel against balance. Love without balance can blind. Zeal without balance can harden. Grief without balance can swallow duty. Even worship without balance can become a hidden pride if it makes you cruel, vain, or careless toward others. This is where Ibn Arabi becomes painfully practical. He does not let the seeker hide in dramatic feelings. He asks whether those feelings serve truth or only inflate the self. The exit here is the boundary, not vague intentions, actual limit. Stop one step earlier. Speak one sentence less. Spend one amount lower. Defend yourself 1 degree less quickly. Eat before fullness. Sleep before collapse. Leave the praise you want. Accept the hidden act. Learn the beauty of enough. Enough is sacred. Most people think nearness to God comes by adding more and more. Sometimes it comes by refusing the extra piece your ego keeps demanding. Once the balance becomes clear, the next hidden truth appears. The self does not like measuring because it is crooked by habit. Crookedness here does not mean monstrous evil. It means a bend, a tilt, a quiet leaning away from truth that becomes natural over time. Ibn Arabi understands that the self rarely destroys a person through open rebellion first. It does so through small distortions that the person learns to defend. That is why Surah Ar-Rahman feels so unsettling when heard deeply. It is full of beauty, but the beauty keeps uncovering your inner bend. You feel this station when you notice how easily you justify yourself. You make your own motives sound noble. You reduce your sins to context. You turn your selfishness into sensitivity. You make your delay sound wise. You call your fear discernment. You call your pride standards. This is the crookedness of the self. Not that it always chooses evil, that it keeps naming itself innocent while bending the scale. The person here is not beyond hope. In fact, this recognition is hope, because the worst form of crookedness is the one you call straight. Once you begin to feel the bend, mercy has already entered. But the trap is severe. You may now become fascinated with your flaws and still never change. Some people become experts in self-analysis. They can name every wound, every pattern, every shadow, yet their life stays the same. They confess without surrender. They diagnose without cutting. They turn self-knowledge into another form of delay. That too is crookedness. Ibn Arabi would not admire a person merely because they speak deeply about the soul. He would look for whether the scale is becoming straighter. Are they softer with truth, less eager to perform, less ruled by appetite, faster to repent, more careful with speech, more stable in worship? That is the evidence. The exit here is painful simplicity. Stop decorating your distortions. Name one bend plainly. I love being admired. I fear losing control. I hide behind knowledge. I keep this habit because it gives me relief. Say it without poetry, then oppose it with one clean act. Crookedness weakens when it is denied its costume. But Surah Ar-Rahman does not leave you only with the crooked self. It keeps repeating one question, and that question turns mercy into judgment, beauty into witness, and your entire life into an answer you are already giving. This repeated verse is not decoration, it is interrogation. Most people hear it as a beautiful rhythm. They feel its sweetness. They wait for it to return. But Ibn Arabi hears something much sharper inside it. The verse does not only praise blessings, it forces a response. It asks what kind of soul can stand inside a world flooded with signs, gifts, warnings, breath, time, and mercy, then still live as if nothing has been given. That is why the question repeats. Not because God needs the answer, because you do. Every return of this verse closes one escape route. You cannot hide behind forgetfulness forever. You cannot say, I just did not know. The sun rises. The body works. Water cools. Language forms. Love reaches you. A warning comes. Chances remain. Delay is granted. Even pain teaches. The question follows all of it. What exactly are you denying? You feel this station when gratitude becomes heavier than politeness. You start to see that ingratitude is not only failing to say thank you, it is living against the meaning of what you have been given. To use your mind against truth, to use your time against purpose, to use your body against obedience, to use blessing as fuel for ego. That is a deeper denial. The person here begins to lose excuses, not because life got easier, because the evidence of mercy became harder to ignore. They see blessings in places they once called ordinary. They also begin to see how often they answered those blessings with numbness, pride, waste, or delay. That can break the heart in a good way. The trap here is selective gratitude. You thank God for what pleases you, then resent Him for what exposes you. You count gifts that flatter your plans. You do not count the boundaries that protect you. You praise provision, but resist restraint. You celebrate beauty, but ignore warnings. That is not full gratitude. That is an appetite dressed as faith. This repeated verse destroys that game. It asks about favors, yes. But within the surah, favors include signs of power, scenes of judgment, images of order, warnings of fire, and the beauty of paradise. This means a favor is not only what feels pleasant. A favor is whatever leads you toward truth. Even fear can be a favor if it saves you from false peace. The exit from this station is radical naming. Stop saying I am grateful in the abstract. Name the exact gifts you have turned into a habit. Name the mercies you have used badly. Name the warnings you kept postponing. Then answer one of them with change. A repeated verse becomes real only when it meets a repeated choice. Surah Ar-Rahman says, everything upon the earth will pass away. Only the face of your Lord remains. This is not only about death, it is about exposure. Ibn Arabi hears here a ruthless mercy. The surah tears away your illusions before life itself tears them away. It tells you early that what you lean on will not stay. Youth will not stay. Beauty will not stay. Status will not stay. The version of you that wins rooms, controls outcomes, and imagines it has time will not stay. Only God remains. You feel this station when things begin to lose their old spell. Praise does not taste as rich. Possession does not calm you the way it once did. The future stops feeling like a guarantee. You begin to sense that whole parts of your identity were built on passing sand. That is frightening. It is also clean. The person here may look quieter to others, less hungry, less eager to prove. Something has broken in them, but in a holy way. The world still matters. Duty still matters. Work still matters. Love still matters. But these things no longer pretend to be eternal. They return to their size. This is where freedom begins. The trap is despair or false detachment. Once the illusion starts dying, some people become cold. They say, nothing matters. That is not wisdom. That is a wounded ego. Others keep talking about how temporary the world is, while still living for its applause. Their tongue speaks fana, passing away, but their heart still bows to image. That split is deadly. Ibn Arabi does not call you to hate the world. He calls you to stop worshiping what passes through it. The issue is not that things end. The issue is that you kept asking things to carry eternal weight. No wonder you felt crushed. The exit here is reordering love. Hold the world as trust, not throne. Enjoy what is lawful, but do not kneel to it. Serve people, but do not live from their gaze. Build, earn, care, marry, labor, and grieve. But remember what remains when all forms fall away. If that remembrance becomes steady, your fear begins to change. You still fear loss, but not like before. You still feel pain, but not like before. Something in you starts anchoring where decay cannot reach. That is what the surah is doing. It is not taking beauty from you. It is cutting illusion away from beauty. When the surah says only the face of your Lord remains, it points to what is real beyond all collapse. This is the hidden center. Waj means face, but here it points to the divine reality that does not vanish, fade, or withdraw into non-being. Ibn Arabi hears in this the end of every false center. You have lived around many faces, the face you show others, the face you protect, the face you want praised, the face you fear losing. Surah Ar-Rahman strips them one by one until only one center deserves your deepest turning. That is why this changes everything. You feel this station when worship becomes less about getting something and more about facing someone. Prayer grows quieter. Dhikr, remembrance, grows heavier. Sins stop being mistakes that damage your image. They become veils. You no longer ask only, will this harm me? You begin asking, will this turn my face away? That is a different life. The person here becomes simple in a rare way. They are not empty of struggle. They are emptied of theater. They do not need every act seen. They do not need every wound explained. They want alignment more than applause. They want nearness more than narrative. The trap here is spiritual vanity. You start speaking about sincerity, detachment, and divine nearness, while secretly loving the identity of being deep. You become attached to the look of inwardness. That is still a face, still a mask, still something is passing. Surah Ar-Rahman burns even that, because once only God's face remains, even your spiritual image must die. Even your holy self-story must go. What remains then is cleaner, smaller, truer. A servant, not a performer. A seeker, not a brand. A heart facing God without costume. The exit here is hidden worship. Do what feeds your inner face with God and starves your outer face before people. Pray where no praise reaches you. Give where no one knows. Make one sincere repentance without telling a soul. Let your secret life become more beautiful than your visible one. That is when the surah begins to move from speech into being. But there is one more turn before the mirror closes. Mercy, balance, gratitude, passing away, and the face of God now pressed toward a human type. A person shaped by this surah so deeply that you can almost feel their presence before they speak. The person shaped by Surah Ar-Rahman carries a rare kind of balance. You feel it before you can explain it. They are grateful without being soft-minded, serious without becoming harsh. Their speech is clean. Their appetites are governed. They enjoy what God allows, but nothing in their life sits on the throne except God. When they are given, they do not swell. When they are denied, they do not collapse. Mercy made them humble, and measure made them straight. This person does not recite the surah only with the tongue. They live inside its scale. They do not use God's mercy as an excuse for spiritual laziness. They do not use God's warnings to become bitter or dramatic. They carry both. So their presence feels deep and light at once. They are hard to manipulate because they are no longer starving for praise. They are hard to corrupt because they already know the price of inner crookedness. They are not sinless. They are honest, quick to return, and hard to intoxicate with illusion. They also have a strange tenderness, because once you know how much mercy has covered your own distortions, you stop enjoying the exposure of others. You become less eager to judge, less eager to win, less eager to speak when silence would purify your motive. This is not a weakness. It is adab, sacred restraint. Ibn Arabi's path never aims to produce a loud, holy person. It aims to produce a true one. Now bring the mirror close and answer carefully. Do you speak of God's mercy mostly when you want comfort, but resist it when it corrects you? Has your life lost balance in a place you now call normal? Do you keep crossing limits in food, speech, desire, spending, or attention? Then call it personality. When blessings fill your day, do they make you grateful, or do they make you more entitled? Have you turned one mercy into a weapon for ego, image, laziness, or self-importance? Do you keep thanking God for gifts while still using those same gifts against your soul? If something were taken from you tonight, would your whole identity crack with it? Do you love the idea of sincerity more than the hidden acts that actually create it? These questions are not there to push you into shame. They are there to locate the bend in the scale. Surah Ar-Rahman does not change the person who stays vague. It changes the person who dares to say, here is where I live above my limit, here is where I deny a gift by misusing it, and here is where my heart still clings to what cannot remain. And that is where the next step becomes urgent. Not admiration, practice, not emotion, reordering. Because if the scale has been shown to you, then the real question is simple now. What do you do tonight so your life begins to lean back toward balance? Begin with one act of weighing tonight. Sit alone after Isha and recite Surah Ar-Rahman slowly. Each time the verse returns, which of your Lord's gifts will you deny? Stop for a few seconds and name one mercy you have been using badly. Not one you lost, one you still have. Your speech, your health, your time, your privacy, your mind. Then ask one hard question. What would gratitude for this gift look like in action by tomorrow? Your second practice begins this week. Restore one broken balance in a concrete way. Cut one excess that keeps crossing its limit. If your tongue runs loose, reduce speech and increase dhikr, remembrance of God. If your body rules you, fast one day or eat with restraint. If people's praise controls your peace, do one good deed no one can trace back to you. The point is not self-punishment. The point is measure. A crooked scale does not become straight through feelings. It becomes straight through repeated alignment. Your third practice is hidden gratitude. Every day this week, thank God for one difficult mercy, not only an easy one. Thank Him for the warning that embarrassed you. Thank Him for the delay that exposed your impatience. Thank Him for the loss that showed you what you had worshipped too much. This is hard, but it trains the heart to see Ar-Rahman, the All-Merciful, beyond comfort alone. This is the moral weight of Surah Ar-Rahman. It was never sent only to make you admire beauty. It was sent to teach you that beauty has a Lord, balance has a law, and mercy has a claim on the way you live. Once you see that, you cannot keep moving through blessings like a thief. You cannot keep naming your excess freedom. You cannot keep calling imbalance normal. The surah lifts you, but it also judges you. That is its mercy. It keeps asking what you will deny, because human beings deny in strange ways. Not only by rejecting God openly, you also deny Him when you use His gifts against His order. You deny Him when you turn mercy into entitlement. You deny Him when you build your identity on what must pass away. And you deny Him when you keep standing inside a world of signs, yet live like nothing sacred